Hey guys, Zen here, and today we're back with an absolutely epic update for Rainbow Six Siege. The Australian season with Operation Burnt Horizon has been fully revealed, the Year 4 roadmap has been shown off, new playlists and events have been discussed, we get a peek at ancient Japanese culture with the Onkonchishin Elite set for Hibana, and at long last we finally see the removal of the beta tag from the ranked playlist. This will be my most ambitious update video yet, so ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. First up, I wanted to go over the Year 4 Season 1 patch notes, starting with the two new operators, Gridlock and Mazy. Gridlock is the attacker. She's a 1-speed, 3-armor operator, and she'll bring the Track Stinger gadget. It's pretty simple. You throw out a canister that deploys as many as 20 individual spike discs that serve a couple of purposes. First, and most obviously, it prevents defenders from just walking through an area. If for whatever reason they decide to, they'll be slowed down, similar to barbed wire, and also take 10 points of damage per tick. So the only other option for a defender is to destroy them, which is actually very easy to do. The devs did say that they want it to be made clear that this gadget is easily countered, although surprisingly enough, Jaeger doesn't counter this gadget, even though Gridlock does throw it out like a projectile. Now, you can deal with them pretty much as you'd expect. You can shoot them, use explosives like impacts or C4, but what I think will be the most effective is to actually shoot the canister as it's deploying all of the tracks. One of the drawbacks of this gadget is actually how long it takes for the tracks to be deployed. It can take up to 10 seconds for the gadget to be fully deployed, making this the longest deployment time in the game. Not only does it take a while, but it also is very loud, and it's pretty obvious that it's going off. So yes, it can watch your back against a roamer, but it can also attract them to your general position, which can give them an advantage over you, especially because Gridlock is a slow 3-armor, and most roamers are fast 3-speed operators. Now, she gets 3 of these canisters, so you're most likely going to do more than just defend against roamers. This gadget is very proficient in sealing off a large area, so another tactic will be to use this after a diffuser has been planted. Once the plant goes down, the attackers then become the defenders, and the Tracks gadget is a defensive style gadget in nature. So anytime you've got the defenders on the push, or anytime they must retake, the Tracks is quite possibly your last line of defense, and as of now, it's probably the best one. Now, Gridlock comes with the F90 assault rifle and the M249 LMG, which is the same as Capitao, but has a different variant of ACOG. It's almost like a hybrid of the standard and the new one that comes with the .44 mag for Nomad and Qaid. I personally prefer the assault rifle, but I know that there are those hardcore LMG fans that love Capitao's M249. Now, both her and Mazy have access to the Super Shorty, which is a short barrel shotgun. It only has 3 rounds in the magazine, so it really isn't the best option in gunfights. However, it's a great tool for opening up the map, and especially for creating lines of sight through floors. Because she also comes with smoke grenades, I think the most popular tactic for Gridlock will be to smoke out an area and then deploy her gadget in the smoke so the defenders don't know where the canister is, so they can't destroy it while it's active. Now, that's pretty much it for Gridlock. I think she's a very strong operator, but one that also allows for a lot of creativity in her playstyle. Now, guys, I know some of you are looking for a way to get your hands on these operators, so before we continue, I wanted to give a shout out to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring this video. If you guys are looking for an easy way to make some quick cash and maybe get a Year 4 pass, check out Opinion Outpost. It's a really simple and easy way to make money by just taking some surveys and giving your opinion. I've used it, and yes, it really does work. So if you're interested, make sure you click the link at the top of the description and try it for yourself. It's free, it's actually really easy, and I don't want you guys to miss out on earning a little extra cash. A big thank you to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring this video. The next operator is Max Goose, aka Mazy. He's a 2-speed, 2-armor defender that's bringing the Pest Launcher gadget. We all know the point is to hack the drones, whether that's by setting up a pest beforehand and capturing them, or by shooting one directly. But this operator is actually changing a core element of the game that has never been touched, which is how the defenders interact with drones. Up until now, as a defender, the only logical thing to do when you see a drone is to destroy it. If Mute jams one, you shoot it. If you're roaming and you happen to notice one and it isn't being used, you destroy it. There's just never been any reason to keep an attacker drone on the map. But now with Mazy, there is, and he's also now the biggest threat to Twitch. If Mazy gets a hold of a Twitch drone, there's so many ways he can hurt the attackers. He can shoot out a thermite charge while it's going off, he can take out other attacker drones while they're cruising around, he can even take out claymores that have been placed. So even more so than Mute or electrified barbed wire, Twitch must look out for Pest because her drone can actually be used against her. Now, we do have somewhat of a hacker war happening between Mazy Mazy and Dokkaebi. The devs made it clear that this intel battle between these two operators will be big this season, as Dokkaebi can hack an already hacked drone and see the feed. So Mazy will control it, but Dokkaebi can see through it, and depending on how many drones Mazy has, this could put the defenders at a disadvantage. Now, both of his weapons are great and give this operator options for how he likes to play. The Commando is the anchor weapon. It has a slower fire rate and more in the magazine, while the P10 is a CQB submachine gun. It has lower damage and less in the magazine, but it has a very high fire rate, so up close it just shreds. Personally, I prefer the Commando. I play Mazy as an anchor because of the time I spend on the drones, and I also think it's just a little bit more stable than the P10. Now, for those of you who've been using him, a quick tip is to lead your shot with the pest launcher. Unless you hit a drone direct, you'll need to kind of predict where the drone is headed, aim just ahead of it, and take your shot. It takes a quick second for the pest to arm itself, so the drone can get away if you don't aim it correctly. It seems that with both of these operators, Ubisoft is adding that synergy I've mentioned in the past. Mazy has barbed wire, which slows the drones, making it easier to capture them, and Gridlock brings smokes, which help her to conceal her gadget while it deploys. I really hope going forward they do more of this, because it just makes playing these operators so much more satisfying. Next up, I wanted to talk about the designer's notes. These have been out for a little while now, and now that I've had the chance to try them out, I thought I'd give you guys my thoughts. So yes, Ashe's R4C lost the ACOG scope. Out of everything we discuss here, I think this is easily the most controversial. Ashe is by far the most popular attacker in the game, and it's been this way since the very beginning. Through every single season and every time we get pick rate data, Ashe is always the most popular pick on attack. So Ubisoft finally made a big change to this operator. Now, no matter what way you look at this is most definitely a nerf to this operator. Even if you were someone who always used the holographic on her R4C, just the fact it no longer has this option is a nerf to her. But Ubisoft mentions two big things here that are really interesting to this change. The first is that apparently the R4C was being used 99% of the time, meaning that 1% or less of the entire player base used the G36C, which could actually be just myself, because as some of you know, it is my preferred weapon. But the other interesting fact is that they're using this change to test if having attackers without ACOGs is an option, and what a better way to test this than to use the most popular attacker there is. So based on this data with Ashe, we may be seeing new attackers launching without ACOG scopes, which is something that could even have an effect on some of our current operators. Next, Legion's goo mines will be receiving a damage nerf. So now if you step on one, the damage you'll take is 4, down from 8. Yes, this is a nerf, and in some situations it may cost you a kill, but honestly, I think it's best to look at Legion as an intel operator first, and this damage reduction doesn't change that aspect of him, so it really shouldn't affect the meta all too much. Some big changes are coming to Dokkaebi. After 18 seconds, phone calls from Dokkaebi will hang up on their own. Being in range of mute jammers will prevent Dokkaebi from calling you, and walking into the range of a mute jammer will hang up phone calls during the call. So we're getting a bit of a nerf to Dokkaebi, but also a buff to mute. They're making the interactions between the logic bomb and the mute jammer a lot more dynamic, where now you're gonna start seeing defenders run towards mute jammers to hang up their phone, and you'll probably also start seeing more mute overall because of this change. Now, honestly, my favorite change of this update is with Capitao. They're going to be increasing the area of effect size of the asphyxiating bolts and also reducing the damage per tick from 19 to 12. So now Capitao fire bolts will be able to more consistently block off an area, and I see this being especially effective against Mira. Because his bolts can't be stopped by Jaeger, you can very easily shoot one into where Mira will be peeking and force her from behind her gadget. Now yes, you won't be doing as much damage, but similar to Smoke, it's enough to put the defenders in an uncomfortable position and make them move. So with this change, I expect a lot of new Capitao mains. Both Maverick and Clash will be seeing small changes. The switching time between the blowtorch and weapons has been increased with Maverick, and Clash will lose the muzzle brake for her submachine gun. Moving on, I wanted to quickly go over the Year 4 roadmap. During the 6 Invitationals, Ubisoft showed off what's coming over the next year of Siege, and this year has one of the biggest changes we've ever seen. We will have 4 traditional seasons with 2 new operators, but after season 1, every other season will be a map rework instead of a brand new map. Now, I really like this approach, and I almost look at this entire year as somewhat of an Operation Health. The maps being reworked are Cafe with season 2, Canal with season 3, and Theme Park at the end with season 4. With Cafe, they're going to change the stairs at the bottom and make them more easily visible to the player, while also expanding the top floor and skylight area. With Canal, they'll be making it easier easier to get between the two buildings by adding a new section up top as well as a new tunnel down below. Then for theme park, they want to make the map brighter and better lit in certain areas, and also rework the gargoyle office area because it can be really difficult to find defenders on that side of the map. Now, honestly, I'm glad they decided to rework instead of launch new maps in year 4. Some of these older maps are great and just need to be adjusted to some of the new operators or metas, and I'd rather see them make those adjustments than to just waste what's already a good piece of content. Now, as far as the CTUs, Season 2 will have an American from the Secret Service and also an operator from Denmark. Season 3 will see Mexico and Peru, and finally with Season 4, we'll see Kenya and India. So year 4 will be the most diverse year of Siege to date, spanning across multiple different countries and continents. What's really different about year 4 though is the focus on lore and telling the stories of each operator as they join Team Rainbow. I think we're starting to see this even now with more lore being introduced with Nomad and Kaid, and even more so with Gridlock and Mazy. There's a lot more history, a lot more character, and these operators all know each other and connect in different ways, which is something I think should be a highlight in year 4. Next up, I want to talk about Outback. Now, I'm sure many of you have had the chance to try it, and for me, it's quickly becoming one of my favorites, but there are a couple things that I thought you guys should be aware of. First up, it's actually color-coded. There's 3 buildings. One is yellow, one is green, and one is blue. Ubisoft designed it this way so that it's easier to navigate and know where you are on the map. The other important thing to note is that 90% of the floors on this map are breakable, so vertical gameplay is going to be huge here. Outback is a really fun map, but it feels very close quarters, so if you can understand these 2 aspects of this map, I think you'll have an advantage over your opponents. Now, finally, the last feature with Burnt Horizon is the Unconscious Elite set for Hibana. It's precision and elegance all in one bundle. Now, a small addition with Burnt Horizon is actually the face change for Hibana. With the new season, along with her elite, Hibana's face looks just a little bit different and adds a little bit more detail to her. Just a few seasons back, we had the same thing happen to Rook and also Frost, and so it's great to see Ubisoft polish up the ops over time. So, year 4 has been referred to as the year of change. We're seeing attackers with defensive style gadgets and defenders with attacking gadgets. We're getting almost a full year of map reworks, and we're going to see fundamental changes to how we've been playing this game since the launch of Siege. Year 3 was more of an experimental year. We saw our first ever events like Outbreak and the Madhouse. We got our first global operators with Lion and Finca, and of course our very first map rework with Hereford Base. I think year 4 will be the most important year of Siege yet, so we're still full steam ahead in making it to 100 operators, and come the end of this year with year 4, we'll finally pass the halfway mark. But guys, that has to be everything for this video. I know there's still a lot of stuff to talk about, and trust me, it's all coming, so now is a great time to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you're here as soon as new content drops. But I want to hear from you. Are you leaning more towards Gridlock or Mazy, and how do you feel about some of those operator changes? Leave it all in a comment down below. If you did enjoy this video, please drop a like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. With that being said, it's been Zen. Hey, I'm out.